Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The More You Know podcast.
Today I want to share Jacob Cohen's journey to significance. So Jacob Cohen was born in Long Island, New York, and was the son of Jewish parents. His father was a vaudevillian performer who went by the stage name Phil Roy, and his mother was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Due to his father's vaudevillian pursuits, he was rarely ever home, and Jacob only saw him normally twice a year. Upon Phil essentially abandoning the family, his mother, sister, and him moved to Queens, New York. His family had financial struggles though, and starting in high school, he began working to support his family, delivering groceries, selling newspapers, as well as selling ice cream at the beach. Then at the age of 15, he began performing stand-up and writing for other comedians. And then at the age of 19, he legally changed his name to Jack Roy. At this point, he was fully pursuing comedy, and he struggled financially for 9 years. And due to his financial struggles, he was forced to stop comedy and take a job selling aluminum siding in the 50s to support his wife and family. From there in the early 1960s, he began working to pursue rehabilitating his career in stand-up. He still worked as a salesman during the day, but at night he would do stand-up at hotels in the Catskill Mountains. This pursuit wasn't all that successful though. He got into debt and couldn't get booked for shows, but he didn't quit. Instead, he came to realize that he lacked an image and a well-defined on-stage persona, and he decided to develop a character whom nothing went right for. At this point, he then changed his name again, this time to Rodney Dangerfield. Here he began to start to find success, and in March of 1967, he performed as a last-minute replacement on The Ed Sullivan Show, and at this point he became a surprise hit for the show. He then began headlining shows in Vegas and making frequent appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show. He also became a regular on The Dean Martin Show, as well as The Tonight Show. Then in 1969, he partnered with a friend to build the Dangerfields Comedy Club in New York City, and this is so he could have a venue to perform in regularly and not have to travel constantly. The club quickly became a huge success, and remained successful going all the way into the 2000s. And while he began finding success, even starring in some small movies, his career didn't really take off until the early 80s. Here his 1980 comedy album No Respect won a Grammy. Then in 1983, his comical rap album became one of the first Hot 100 rap records, and was also an early MTV hit. This then helped propel iconic movie roles such as his role in Caddyshack, Easy Money, and Back to School. And from this point on, Dangerfield was known as one of the top comedians as well as one of the top comedic actors, and maintained this status until the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, he began facing health troubles, having a mild heart attack while doing stand-up on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and then dying in October of 2004 after going into a coma. Jacob Cohen, also known as Rodney Dangerfield, has one of the most iconic journeys to significance. In a lot of ways, he found no success for the first few decades of his pursuits, but he never gave up on his dream, and throughout a couple decades, brought his dream to life, becoming one of the hottest comedians and one of the premier comedy actors throughout the 80s and 90s. To me, Rodney no doubt shows that in a lot of ways, it's not that you're unable to accomplish your dreams, but most people quit before they do, and that if you're willing to work hard and put in the time and effort, as well as to never give up, you can craft a life of significance following your dreams. I hope this talk makes a positive impact in your life. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening or watching it. Check out other episodes. Leave a review. Follow the podcast on social media at More You Know Pod, and sign up for CrowdQuestion to ask me questions about the episode. Again, thank you for listening as we propel through podcasting with the More You Know.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The More You Know podcast.